So when I was 7, and my dad first started working at home, which was an adjustment for him, so he spent less time with me and my little sister, Kathy. We also spent less time together, which was weird because we had done so much together in the previous years. And I didn't have many friends at the time, so as you can imagine, I was pretty lonely. But I didn't realize it at the time. I think my dad did, so he got me my first game system, getting me into video games. When I was 8, I was really into this show called Justice League Unlimited, and it not only started my love of superheroes, it actually helped me come up with my first idea. It wasn't original, but it was just an episode where basically my favorite superhero, Batman, had his own superpowers. After that, I wanted to watch the show more. For reasons I now know were because I actually wanted to make more episodes. So actually, for a long time, writing was the last thing I wanted to do with my life. As a kid, I hated writing with a passion. But basically, I wanted to do video games, and I actually went to years of camp for it just to realize I did not want to do that at all. So basically, in the past, I've been doing this for a while now, like just story creation, but only in the past year or two have I actually been writing down my favorite ideas so I never forget them. Basically, for me, story creation is so much more than just writing words on my devices or ideas in my head. To me, I'm creating whole new worlds. I'm sure you're all familiar with the multidimensional theory, where, multiple dimensions. For me, when I write, I'm creating whole new dimensions where I can make them as similar or different than ours as I like. Basically, I've been doing story creation for a long time now, so finding words to describe the process was difficult. Then I thought, it's like an apple. The skin is like the inspiration I get when I'm watching, say, a movie, a show, video games, books. Like one of my shows, Reapers, actually got inspiration from the shows Freezing and Fairy Tale. Next is the flesh, adaptation, taking parts or elements of what I've seen from other medias and adapting them into mine and making them different. Basically, I've done this with another one of my stories called Divided, where I took parts/elements from the trailer Glass and the game Persona. And the final thing to get this process started is the core or an original idea. Basically, though, when you first see, say, a movie, unlike an apple, you don't see the skin or the flesh. You only see that core. But if you look closely, you will be able to actually find the skin and the flesh. So once I feel like I've gotten the ball rolling with all this, I actually move on to the next part, which is creating a character or a setting. The reason I'm able to create a character before I create a setting is actually because once I get a character's personality and traits down, I can actually make a setting based around that character. And it works the same either way, though. Basically, once I am done with that, I move on to creating other characters to help advance the story and also better my main character. Then I create a goal for my character, like what are they trying to do and how does that goal change over time? And then I create a problem if it's internal or external, and then usually I create an antagonist most of the time. And then I try to show that my characters aren't perfect. Like they've got their own problems, like arrogance, fear, and anger, and also etc. Basically, also, people always want to know what set the character off on the path they're taking. So I try to get that down. Like in my story, Hellish Light. In Hellish Light, my main character watches his house get burned down, his little brother killed, and his arm cut off and replaced by a demon one. This makes him extremely serious, very distant from others, violent, and that's basically his personality from that. And then the most important thing to me when I'm creating a character is making them relatable, showing that they may have these amazing abilities and powers, but they're still just as human as you and me. They have flaws, and who have flaws all their own. Basically, in my story Divided, this character, my main character, has to deal with him losing control of himself to multiple times throughout the show because other beings are taking over his body. Basically, it shows him working through this because I think all of us would be terrified if we lost control of ourselves. So basically, this allows people to understand the character or relate to them, making the show more likely to succeed. I've used this process in school for writing workshops, like in one of my stories called Death Among the Living. I show the Grim Reaper walking around New York trying to find out what humans do before they die. And then in Family Arrives, I try to show the emotional problems that come from losing a parent. And, well, for me, story creation and writing have taught me a lot of things, but the most important, I'd say, is how to take constructive criticism, which is a skill needed in a lot of careers nowadays. And this may have all started because of one of the lowest points in my life, but it has been the main reason for some of the best and highest points I've ever experienced in my whole life. Thank you.